Amen.
Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Before we begin, is there anyone here for the Quick Mart? We were going to have a public hearing first on it. Seeing no one here, we'll strike that from tonight's work session and move on to number 2. Have a public hearing. This is the time and place for a public hearing for an alcohol license for Scottsboro Foodmart. Is there anyone here for this? Thank you, sir. Is there anyone here against this? Okay. Ms. Phillips, will you do an investigative report?
The applicant is Scottsboro Foodmart Incorporated, type of license retail beer and wine off-premise, located at 1533 South Broad Street. There were 5 businesses surveyed with no objections. The nearest church and school footage requirements are met. License application is in order. Health inspection complies. Fire and building inspections are pending. Final inspection and zoning verification complies.
Thank you, Ms. Phillips. With that being said, this will conclude the public hearing on that. We'll move that to next week's meeting for a vote. We'll see you next week. Thank you. Number 3, discuss the retail recruiting firms. Mayor?
Thank you, Mr. Bailey. I think in each of your folders you will have examples of 2 contracts, one from Retail Strategies, one from Nextsite. We've discussed these previously. Nextsite was the one that we previously had that they're based on success fees, which are difficult to budget for. Retail Strategies is an upfront charge as a retail recruiter that we would be splitting between the city, the CDA, the DRA, Goose Pond, and the Chamber of Commerce. This would be a budgetable item, and previously the CDA, the DRA, and Goose Pond have all voted to support Retail Strategies, which would be my recommendation.
Okay, thank you. With that being said, out of the $40,000, the city would pay $20,000 with Retail Strategies. If we went that way, with the next site, there would be no annual fee. It would just be a succession fee. And you see on the back page of that contract where it's got for a new restaurant or up to a 50,000 square foot, more than a 50,000 square foot building would be $15,000 per location. So we would pay only on success fees. So that's the 2 contracts in front of you if we were to move forward with either one. So is there any discussion on that? Any questions?
Mr. Mayor, on the Retail Strategies, this one is year to year, right?
That's correct.
If we're not satisfied after the first year, we can
That's correct.
break this contract.
That's correct.
Okay. Anyone have any questions besides that? Or any recommendations about moving forward?
Mr. President, I would recommend we go ahead and move forward. We've got a lot of momentum with retail development at this point that's coming.
Okay.
I think it's in our best interest to have someone working for us rather than otherwise.
Okay. With that being said, we'll move that to next week's meeting, and I'll entertain a motion then. Thank you. Number 4, discuss the one-time pay increase resolution. Mr. Kennemer.
Mr. Chairman, you have in front of you a resolution to give a one-time pay raise to municipal employees. This resolution is identical to the resolution that this council passed last year. Now, what is it? It's Christmas bonus for city employees. Why aren't we calling it a Christmas bonus? Because the legislature says we can't give bonuses. But there's nothing in the law that says we can't give one-time pay raises to the same people. So this is the one-time pay raise that will be payable at Christmas time this year for municipal employees, full-time and part-time.
Thank you, Mr. Kimmer. I just love to hear you tell the story each year.
It's one of the most ignorant things in the world that I've seen. But we have to stay within the law.
Yes, sir. Any questions on that this year? Hearing none, we'll move that to next week's meeting. Number 5, discuss the maintenance agreement with Aldott for the shops of Scottsboro. Mr. Little.
Good evening. I think that each of you have a packet agreement in your folder tonight. It's a maintenance agreement with Aldott, and this is for the installation, operation, and maintenance of a potential traffic signal at State Route 35 and the Frontage Road intersection. And this is an agreement that's required to be signed by the mayor and city clerk before we can bid the installation of that traffic signal.
Anyone have any questions for Mr. Little on this? And this is the signal that will serve the new Publix when it's finished. Hearing no questions, we'll move that to next week's meeting. Thank you, Mr. Little. Number 6, discuss the solid waste laborer job classification. Mr. Level.
Thank you, Mr. President. This was an item that we discussed in the solid waste disposal meeting. Solid waste laborers are classified as a range 1. All other departments are classified as a 4. This may just keep some of our laborers from trying to make a lateral move for, it's about 60 cents difference, but I think it's time that we try to get them all on the same page.
Thank you, Mr. Level.
Thank you, sir.
Any questions on that? Mr. Level, don't run off. No questions on that. We'll go ahead and move that to next week's meeting. Number 7, discuss the loader for the recycling center. Mr. Level.
This also is a item that we discussed previously. This is a compact machine. If you've been up to the recycling center, some of our areas are very tight. So it's going to take this, and we knew this going into it. It was just going to take a little while before we come to you and ask for it. But our material is getting so, we're getting so much right now that it's becoming apparent that we're going to have this thing to try to get the material out of those bays and put into the lower baler. We've been using a forklift, and we've been using a dump hopper, and it's just not feasible. Once you raise it up so high, someone has to get up there and actually release that hopper, and we just need to get on track of what we had originally designed this for, and that was part of it.
Mr. Little, this sounds like a safety matter too, is it not?
It's very dangerous, Mr. Stewart. Right now, we haven't had any incidences, but like I said, the lever is high when you get it up with a forklift to release it, and there's some potential for that. Yes, sir.
Anyone else have any questions on this? Now, the price on this is $64,900. And I know with the sales tax situation right now, this is something, is this pressing if we waited another month?
I think we'll be fine. I just
Okay.
wanted to bring it to you and let you know we need to try to do it
Okay.
as soon as we can for
Okay.
those guys that are down there working.
Well, I'm going to move this to another work session then.
That'll be fine.
Thank you, Mr. Level. Appreciate it. Number 8, discuss the land acquisition for municipal purposes. Mr. Kimmer, can you kind of go over this?
Yes, sir. This was brought up previously in the last 2 Solid Waste Disposal Authority meetings. There's potential to purchase certain property at or near the Scottsboro landfill. You have the numbers there in front of you. The owner is willing to finance over 10 years at 2.5% interest, which is a pretty darn good interest rate. You see the annual payments. You see the acreage. I think there is an attached map. The sanitation department recommends that we do this, and the Solid Waste Disposal Authority has not formally acted, but everyone seemed to recognize the need. The possibility of dirt and other things should more than pay for the property over the 10-year period.
Okay. Anyone have any questions on this? I know we've discussed this many times. Mr. Wheeler, now, the down payment portion of this is actually in the budget to cover it, correct? Yes. Okay, thank you. No one else has any questions? We'll move back to next week's meeting. Okay. Number 9, discuss the rebuild of containers quote from MCS. Mr. Lebel?
Again, this is an item that we discussed in Solid Waste Disposal Authority. We have removed 76 containers, commercial containers, for one reason or another, whether the health department flagged them for leakage or what have you. And I've got 76 that's got to be rebuilt. They come in and put new floors in them and actually paint them. It's about a third of the cost of buying some. So rebuilding these 76 is going to be in our best interest. I think it'll last us quite a while. We have the money in the budget. It's just the amount of money that was a concern, is why we brought it to your attention. This is not asking for money. It's already there.
So with this being said, you could go ahead and use your budget this year. What's in the budget, go ahead and fix these, and if you need more this year, we can come back on it.
Absolutely.
So anyone else have any questions on that?
For repairs only, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So with that going to come out of the budget, we're not going to move that to the meeting. You can
Yes,
go
sir.
ahead and do.
Yes, sir.
And if you need money for more containers, we can come back later on in the year.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you, Mr. Lever.
Thank you, sir.
Don't run off, though. Discuss the state auction, Mr. Level.
This one also is not asking for money. The money's already appropriated. We have it. We're having a problem getting 2 dump trucks in that we ordered several months ago. The manufacturers, no matter who it is, we're having a problem getting anybody to commit to it. State auction is December the 8th. I talked with the mayor. There's some trucks down there, and upon your approval, I'd like to be able to use up to that amount if we find what we need that are as close to new as we can get at this auction, because there's several down there.
Mr. Ledwell, I thought we were gonna wait and buy a new vehicle so we can get on the buyback program. Will this go along with the buyback program as well?
It will go along with it, and we did. We've ordered these trucks, but they can't commit to us. And it's been, I guess, over 5 months now they've been ordered. And every time I call to get an update, it's, we don't have one. We can't commit to numbers. The manufacturers are not telling us when they're gonna build any. They're not giving us any allotments. So these are 2 vehicles that are ordered, and the ones at the auction would be no more than a year old. So yes, sir, they will fit in this bill.
What percentage of buyback do you think you would get over this? It'll be 2-year-old vehicle.
Yes, sir. I can't answer that. I think it's very high. The market residual is high for all of these vehicles right now. But to directly answer your question, I can't do that yet.
Do you know anyways, the new trucks that we were trying to order,
Yes, sir.
is there any kind of date that we could get those?
Well, he told me November 1st, and then he moved it to February. And the last time I talked to him, said maybe next year. So that means, I don't know. I can't get anybody to commit. And I've even tried to swap vendors, going from Peterbilt to Kenworth to Mack. I can't get anybody to commit.
Yeah.
Nobody. But like I said, we're not asking for money that's already been appropriated. I'm just asking to try to find some vehicles.
Anyone else having questions on these?
Is this something we really need to get right away to keep the job up?
I wish we had them several months ago. Yes, sir, it is. We have a pit that we've committed to as a city to remove the material out of, that we haven't even started yet, on 72. And with what we have now, I can't start it. We paid for the permit for that pit, and it's ready to go. And we can use the dirt now in several places. Street department can use it also, but we can't go in there and start getting it with what we have.
Anyone else having questions on that?
How many dump trucks you got right now? Just-
I've got 2 at the landfill that the maintenance shop has deemed unroadworthy, so we're leaving them on the dirt roads.
Got you.
We can't get them on the road. And I have 1 tandem axle truck, which is a smaller one, is all I have. The street department has got some flatbeds. They don't have a triaxle either. So when you're talking about moving the amount of material we're moving, triaxle is gonna pay for itself just in the amount of yardage that we can get at one time.
So you want to bid on this one and
2 of them.
2 of them?
Yes, sir.
And try to get it to somewhere where the amount of money that you've been allocated?
Yes, sir. Up to that amount. You know, if we can keep it lower, of course we will, but
Sure.
option.
Anyone else having questions on that? If not, we'll move out to next week's meeting then. Thank you, sir. Number 11, discuss the resolution for the A-Trip Highway 72 County Park Grant. Mr. Little.
I think you have a resolution in your packet, and this is for the Highway Safety Improvement Project / A-Trip project that's scheduled to bid in December. And this agreement is for the maintenance of the frontage road that's going to be constructed as part of that project. There's about 1,200 feet of frontage road, and the state is asking us to commit to the maintenance of that once it's completed.
This is a normal resolution that, for any.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions on this? Hearing none, we'll move that to next week's meeting. Thank you. Number 12, discuss the Alabama Bass Trail, June of 2022. Mayor?
This is a request we've had to split with the Chamber of Commerce for June 11th, 2022. The host fee is $7,500, split between the city and the chamber, meaning our portion would be $3,750. This should be around 225 boats and 450 anglers.
Okay. And this would come out of our tourism grant
Tourism.
money?
Mhm, correct.
Okay. Anyone else have any questions on this tournament? Hearing none, we'll move that to next week's meeting. Number 13, discuss the CARES Act. Mayor?
We have an opportunity to apply for a grant, a CARES Act grant, that will provide for improvements to a COVID testing site at the Scottsboro Jackson County Rescue Squad facility. It's 100% money, and it will be through ADECA. And asking council to allow us to proceed with applying to ADECA for this CARES Act.
And as you said, this is 100%.
This is 100% money. Total will be $100,000 for improvements.
Okay. Any questions on that? Hearing none, we'll move that to next week's meeting. Number 14, discuss the Tennessee Riverline participation. Mayor?
I think as most everyone knows, and we talked about this, I think last week, Jackson County was accepted in the Tennessee Riverline a couple of weeks ago. The Chamber of Commerce actually filed the application. It includes the Chamber, Jackson County, the City of Stevenson, Scottsboro, and Langston. There's a $750 annual fee, and split those ways will be $150 for the city. Bridgeport was taken in 2019, and this will add the other three cities, again, of Stevenson, Scottsboro, and Langston, as well as the county. And will work well with what we're working on with Singing River Trail and the other recreational opportunities. It'll tie the Tennessee Riverline Blueway to our Greenway and the other Blueways.
Okay. Anyone have any questions on that? So the total cost for the city would be $150. on this.
$150, correct.
Okay. We'll move that to next week's meeting also. Before we conclude, see Mr. Patel got here, I want to go ahead and do your public hearing since you're here. So this will be the time and place for the public hearing on the Quick Mart. You don't have to say anything. Yeah, no. Is there anyone here for this? All I need is a show of a hand. Yeah, thank you, sir. Is anyone here against this? None? So, Ms. Phillips, can you do the investigative report on that?
The applicant is Sanvi Trading LLC, type of license, retail beer and wine off premise, located at 2307 South Broad Street. There were 2 businesses surveyed with no objections. Nearest church and school footage requirements are met. License application is in order. Health, fire, and building inspections comply, and zoning verification complies.
Okay. Thank you. This will conclude the public hearing on this. Mr. Patel, we'll do a public hearing next Monday at 5 o'clock. You'll be here next Monday at 5, and we'll vote on it then. Okay? Thank you, sir. That will conclude the work session of the night. There's no delegation, so we'll move straight to reports. Mayor?
Just tonight, again, this past weekend, Ms. Kirkland, congratulations on a great trunk or treat and great weekend on the square. Great crowd. I think there's a lot of candy handed out, and I think everybody had a good time. So that's all I've got tonight.
Thank you. Welcome back, Mr. Dahl. I'll let you go first tonight.
I don't have anything, thank you.
Thank you, sir. Ms. Oliver?
I have 2 things that I would like to thank this weekend. Katie and the Main Street did a great job.
Did.
And the RecCom, they did a great job from 3 to 5 with the young kids. I really do appreciate that. I've got to give another shout out to the RecCom on behalf. We had a situation with our basketball program this weekend. We had a tournament going on, and the floor in our gymnasium, our auxiliary floor, was leaking. We had a leak. I can truly say Mr. Woods stepped up, and we was able to go into the RecCom and finish our tournament this weekend. Mr. Woods, I really do appreciate you and your staff for stepping up, and the city of Scottsboro. One more thing I forgot. Today, I got to firsthand see the sweeper this afternoon. So that is awesome. That's awesome. I got to look at that coming to work. So I want to say great job to the street department. And that's it. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Ms. Oliver. Mr. Ashford?
Just like to remind everybody to continue to recycle. It's a good thing, and it keeps stuff out of the landfill. It's getting more costly every day to run that landfill, so more stuff that we can keep out of it's going to help us all. It'll keep rates from going up and letting the landfill last longer. That's all I have.
Thank you. Mr. Stewart?
I really don't have anything tonight, but thank you all for coming.
Thank you. I just want to thank the people who went to the Economic Development Academy today with myself, and it was a quick turnaround to Montgomery and back, but very exciting. I'm looking forward to the next 4 meetings, and the improvements that maybe we can bring back to this city. So, that being said, remember there'll be a meeting next week. With that, we're adjourned.